So this is the operating system. This is what stands between you and whatever goal that you've got. And it doesn't matter what your goal is. You want to dominate your marketplace within real estate. You want to buy a new car, a new home. You want to fund your child's college fund. Whatever's between you and that goal is this operating system. So we're going to lay it in. I'm going to give you the highlights of those cornerstone coding program that will rewire your operating system. All right, so let's start at the beginning. What is the root control factor for all your outcomes in life? If you were to boil the most important personal growth and development principles down to one, what is the most important thing to determining the outcomes of your life? Well, here's the deal. We all come into this world exactly the same. Naked, scared, and ignorant. Now, a few of us a little uglier. You saw my baby photo, right? But essentially the same. Naked, scared, and ignorant. But after this grand entrance, what is it that determines the outcome of the life that you live? What determines whether you end up living here or whether you end up living here? After the naked, scared, and ignorant entrance, what determines whether you end up driving this or whether you end up driving this? What's the one thing? What is the answer to this? What's the one thing that determines at the end of a long life, do you end up lonely, broken, despondent, or do you end up in a relationship of 50 years of incredible intimacy and bliss? What's the one thing that determines whether you get to send your children to the greatest universities in the world, or no matter what it is that they qualified for, they can't go because you can't afford to send them? What determines the one thing whether you get to donate to your charity to your greatest heart's content and travel the world in fantastic luxury? If you saw the movie City Slickers, Curly asked you to find the one thing. Well, what is the one thing that determines all the outcomes of your life? Anybody know? That's a damn good thing I came here this morning. If this is the one thing that's going to determine your entire life's outcomes, here's what it is. It all comes down to choices. Choices determine the entire life experience that you end up enjoying. And if we're going to change your life, we've got to change it right at the control center. That if we're going to change your trajectory, we've got to change your choices. Because if we start changing your choices, we can change the entire direction and then all the outcomes that you create. So choices is the first line of code within the operating system. So then you ask, okay, well, what choices? Because you're faced with hundreds throughout the day. And you think it's all just who you marry, the college you go to, these big choices. The reality is this. How many people have ever been bitten by an elephant? Anybody? Besides Dave, right? I've seen those videos. How many people have ever been bitten by a mosquito? Yeah, see, nature provides clues. It's the little things in life that will bite you. Same thing when it comes to choices. People ask me all the time, we've got 7 billion people on the planet. How do these 12 people who appear on the cover of Success Magazine get there? What do they do different than the 7 billion other people that populate this planet that appear on the cover of Success Magazine? Well, let me give you the answer. But first, let me give you the answer most people assume it is, where they're incorrect. Here's the reality. Success is not a result of heroic feats. People you see on the cover of Success Magazine did nothing heroic to get there. It is not a result of grand acts of bravery. This is another American myth, it seems. Just leap and hope that the net appears. Please don't do that, because you bounce hard and it's not worth it. They did not perform any grand acts of bravery. They also didn't perform any quantum leaps. There was no overnight success stories there. They did, however, and this is what success is the result of, small, seemingly insignificant, moment-to-moment choices. The only thing that was different between the 12 and the 7 billion is their small, seemingly insignificant choices over time. And this is a hard thing for the human brain to wrap their head around. So I'm going to try to break this down for you so that you understand how pivotal some of these seemingly insignificant choices are. Small little choices like at lunch. You go to a restaurant, you're presented with a menu, and a menu is nothing but what? A series of choices. Do you choose the hamburger and fry, or do you choose the salad? Now that doesn't seem to be like a Success Magazine cover-making choice, but a choice like, At the end of a long, hard day, do you stop by and do a workout at the gym, or do you rush home to catch your favorite sitcom? Small, seemingly insignificant choices like, in the heat of an argument, do you turn your back and walk out of the room, or do you turn on your heel, say you're sorry, and make a moment of magic? Small, seemingly insignificant choices in the moment. In a networking event, do you walk across the room and introduce yourself to that person you've always wanted to meet but have always been too intimidated to do so, or do you hunker down in fear one more time? Small, seemingly insignificant choices like at the end of a long, hard day, do you put in a few more calls, or do you rush out the front door and call it a day? Small, seemingly insignificant choices add up to big, gargantuan differences in results. Let me give you, for instance, let's say I give you the choice between a penny, a copper penny, and $1 million in cash. Now, the copper penny doubles every day for 31 days, and you get the $1 million in cash. How many people take the $1 million in cash? Okay, got a couple? All right, tough crowd. Let me sweeten the deal here a little bit. A penny that doubles every day for 31 days, or $2 million in cash, net present value. How many people take the $2 million in cash? Okay, a few more converts. Last offer, penny doubles every day for 31 days, or $3 million in cash. Anybody with the $3 million now? Okay. So let's say that you did take the clue that small things add up to big results, and you picked the penny. Or you took out your HP calculator and you started doing yeah. Let's say you picked the penny, and your friend next to you picked the $3 million in cash. So you got the penny. 5 days go by, your pennies turn into 16 little copper pennies in your hand. They got $3 million in cash, partying like a rock star. You're looking at your 16 cents. Day 10, your penny has doubled up into $5.12. They're on yachts with Robin Leach for the lifestyles of the rich and famous, champagne and caviar, and you don't have enough for a happy meal at McDonald's. Day 20, your pennies turned into $5,242, and they still got the $3 million in cash. However, on day 31, your penny turns into $10,737,000 against their paltry $3 million in cash. This is the reason why Einstein said compound interest is the eighth wonder of the world. This is the reason why I'm telling you compound choices are the eighth wonder of the success world. Because see, the math between day 1 and day 2 is exactly the same math between day 30 and day 31. The choices are exactly the same. But it takes the amount of time for you to see the compound effect of those, and you go from what seems to be another body in an audience to whammo bammo, the cover of Success magazine, because of the consistency of that compounded choice. Make this more practical for you. Let's take 3 friends. Let's say these 3 friends are all in the real estate business. They all graduate from the same university. They moved into the same suburb. They've got 2.2 children, white picket fence. They make $50,000 a year in their real estate business. And all of a sudden, Scott picks up a copy of Success magazine, starts reading, gets inspired to try a few things. Nothing dramatic. Here's what Scott's going to do to start making different choices. He is going to read 10 pages of a good book first thing in the morning. Instead of picking up the newspaper and looking at all the wars, crimes, and criminals in the world, he's going to read something positive, something instructional. On the way to the office, instead of listening to more wars and gossiping, scandal, and corruption, he's going to put on something inspiring, something instructional on the CD of his car. He's going to cut 125 calories out of his diet. Now, we're not talking about an extreme makeover. We're talking about a small bowl of cereal or half a candy bar. That's the only change in his diet that he's going to take out. He's going to drink 2 bottles of water a day. He's going to park at the back of the parking lot and walk into the office. He's going to make a few more calls before calling it a day, and he's finally going to make his date night with his wife a priority. Okay? That's all Scott's going to do. Pretty simple. Now, how many people believe that if this was your entire success plan, this is all you had to do to change your life, change your world, how many people believe that they could do Scott's plan? Yeah, it's easy. All right, now let's take a look at Larry. Larry's just going to be doing what Larry's always done. He's just going to be maintaining the status quo. Then we've got Brad. Now, Brad's just going to start making those slight drifting poor choices, right? Nothing rash, nothing dramatic. Here's what Brad's going to do. He's going to munch on a little junk food around the office. You know those chocolate-covered pretzels at the end of the secretary's desk? Half a handful of chocolate-covered peanut M&Ms. That's it. He's going to miss a couple of workouts a week, because he's tired, he's got a headache, he's got to go to the Little League game. He's going to drink more Diet Coke than water, God forbid. He's going to move around a little less. He's going to skip a prospecting call or two, and he's going to give the cold shoulder to the wife just a couple times throughout the week. No big deal. We're not going to call in Jerry Springer to film this domestic situation. Just a cold shoulder a couple times a week. Now let's see how this starts to stack up. 5 months down the road, these three friends look exactly the same. No difference in their results whatsoever. Now 10 months down the road, exactly the same. No mathematical difference between any of their results whatsoever. Now Scott's starting to go, what the hell? I'm like listening to these CDs, reading these books, doing this dang date night, week after week, and my buddies are sloughing off, and we have the same exact results. It doesn't look like it's working. Let's say he maintains. He goes 20 months down the road, and the results are just slight. It's just slight. Brad can feel it in his belt a little bit, right? Tension is set in at the office, but nobody's been fired yet. Apathy is starting to set in at the office. There's tension, but even the neighbors or the friends can't really see it, right? It's just sort of under the current still. It is not until 27 months, we're not even going 31, 27 months where you see dramatic differences between these three friends. Let's add it up. So Scott, here's what Scott's done. 10 pages a day, 5 days a week. Let's take the weekends off. Let's not get too personally developed. He's read 47 books on success and achievement. Do you realize that after a college graduate leaves college, the average person reads less than 3 books the rest of their life? And Scott's read 47 on success and achievement. 465 hours of inspiring, instructional success and achievement content. That 125 calories he cut out of his diet, he lost 33 and a half pounds. A couple months ago, I spent the day with Dr. Mehmet Oz. He said we could end American obesity today if everybody just cut 125 calories out of their diet. That's all it takes. No extreme makeover, no diet, no plan, nothing. 125 calories off your base diet. 2,000 steps meant he walked 900 miles, which means he lost another 30 pounds. The 125 date nights with the wife, I had photos for that. It got risque. Couple extra calls, he made 1,860 extra calls that his buddies didn't make. If he closed 3% of those, which means that he didn't learn anything from those books or those audio programs, he added on top of his $50,000 income an additional $279,000. Small, seemingly insignificant, minor little adjustments, big results. Now, Larry is like most people in America. Treading water, falling a little bit further behind, becoming disenchanted, bored, apathetic, passionless, disengaged, and blaming Obama, right? That's Larry. Brad, on the other hand, his poor little choices, here's what's happened. The 125 extra calories, he's added 33 and a half pounds. Missed a couple of workouts, more Diet Coke than water, more weight gain, now he's under cardiac arrest danger. Missed a few meetings, made a few less calls, business and financial emergency. He's on the brink. And at home, the cold shoulder and inattention to the spouse, apathy set up, and he's on the brink of divorce. Small, seemingly insignificant, poor choices compound into disaster.